Tonight, two major breaking news updates in the Brown University shooting. First, CBS News sources say police have issued an arrest warrant for the shooting suspect. We learned a few hours ago they had identified their person of interest in this case. And CBS has confirmed that police are investigating a possible connection between the shooting at Brown and the shooting death of an MIT professor in his home in Brookline. This has been a rapidly developing story this afternoon and this evening, and our team is covering all aspects of this breaking news.
Now, so far, there have been no arrests, but CBS sources say the search is underway right now, a massive manhunt looking for that suspect. We have live team coverage of the breaking story. We want to begin tonight with WBZ's Louisa Moeller. She's live in Providence with the breaking details. Louisa.
Well, David, Lisa, we are here at Providence Police Headquarters, as we have been pretty much every night this week, waiting for an update that was scheduled for 4, although we've been told multiple times it has been pushed back until when we don't know because of this flurry of new and encouraging information in this investigation. Now, before this afternoon, when we broke the news that sources say their person of interest has been identified and an arrest warrant issued for them, the community here was really feeling pretty down about the fact that potentially this investigation had stalled. But I spoke with a former FBI profiler who said that there really was an undercurrent of this investigation going on, not before the public's eyes, and that releasing that video evidence slowly over time was putting pressure on the person of interest.
Found in the Boston area.
Keep the pressure on the offender. Keep the press releases going. Keep the videos coming out. Talk about the forensic evidence. Talk about the DNA, because what you're doing is you're keeping that person believing that he's being watched, could be watched. You're keeping that person up to date. But the paranoia, we always look at crimes. What did they do in the beginning? What did they do after the crime? This is not somebody that is a career criminal. Very doubtful that he is, but he's probably never been in a circumstance like this. Does he just go home and just have a cup of coffee and go to bed? No, he does not. His paranoia about, they're showing me on TV. Now I'm walking around looking like this. That paranoia where he's made mistakes.
Dr. Mary Ellen O'Toole, who you just heard from, she said that paranoia can lead to mistakes, which can ultimately lead to a break in the case. We don't know if that is what has led to the identification of the person of interest. What we do know is that investigators have said they do have access to DNA evidence. They also have conducted a massive grid search of the entire Brown community area. We're talking 6 blocks by 12 blocks. And what will be interesting is if this news briefing happens tonight at that podium behind me, what will they be willing to say, especially after taking criticism about the length of this investigation? We will stand by, and you will certainly hear it live when it happens. David, Lisa, back to you.
No doubt a lot of people had worried that it had run cold, but obviously it was still hot. Thank you so much, Louisa. Now, we mentioned the possible connection to what happened in Brookline. The crime scenes at Brown University in Brookline happened 2 days and 50 miles apart.
And just to reiterate, CBS sources are saying that police are now investigating whether the two killings, the killing at Brown and the killing of the MIT professor, are connected. WBZ's Penny Commit continues our live coverage. She is in the neighborhood in Brookline tonight. Penny?
Well, Lisa, David, it's not difficult to draw the connection between these two crime scenes. The shooting at Brown University, the horrific shooting, happened in a building that houses the university's physics and engineering departments. And we've learned that the MIT professor who lived in this building here with his family, including his 3 young kids, who was shot on Monday night, died Tuesday morning. He was a physics professor. His name is Nuno Loureiro. He actually just last May became the director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, one of the institute's largest labs. So community members we've been speaking with, they've been hypothesizing about this potential connection for days. And to actually learn of it, they say, was very shocking. They tell me they really don't think they're going to stop feeling on edge until someone is actually in custody.
Always shocking when you hear about a murder, and I haven't heard much about if they know the reasons behind it, or if it was a random act or premeditated. But obviously, it's concerning. We have kids, and you worry about you got to lock the door instead of leaving the door unlocked.
And that man there lives in Brookline. He was getting pretty emotional speaking with me. This has really taken a toll on the community, and people want answers. We've been trying to get answers. We've been reaching out to the Norfolk DA's office every single day. We actually just saw them earlier this morning during Brian Walsh's sentencing. We asked them, is there any update on the incident in Brookline? David, Lisa, they had no response for us.
All right. Yeah, clearly people there are feeling very uneasy. Penny Commit, we're going to get back to you in just a little bit. Right now, though, we want to bring in WBZ Chief Investigator Cheryl Fiandaca. And Cheryl, there were questions all week in that neighborhood, in our newsroom, everywhere else. Could these be connected? What do you think they're using to link these two possible crime scenes?
Well, it's interesting, Lisa, because, we were all listening to the news conferences earlier this week, and the FBI came out and said they did not think there was a connection. That was on Tuesday. So they obviously developed some information between Tuesday and today that led them down this road, whether that information came from the crime scene in Brookline that led them to say, okay, these two now appear to be connected, or they're at least looking at the possibility that they're connected.
Now, Cheryl, when we start seeing pictures being put out to the public, I think all of us in here in Boston automatically think of the Boston Marathon bombings. You worked for the Boston Police Department at the time that happened. Mm-hmm. Give us a sense, if you can, seeing those photos released, and I thought it was interesting, not just the one of the person of interest, but then yesterday, another image of a person who they suddenly wanted to talk to. Close-up image seemed kind of strange. Mm-hmm. What was your thought process on seeing those released, especially when you think about how things happened with the Boston Marathon bombing and the release of the photos there?
That was interesting because, as we talked about this earlier, and Ed Davis at the time wanted those pictures released as soon as they had them in the Boston Marathon bombing, and there was some pushback thinking that maybe there wasn't a good idea to do that. There were some investigators and some prosecutors that believed that was part of the case and that they shouldn't release those photos. But Ed actually prevailed in that case because he said, look, can you guarantee us that nothing will happen if we don't do this? That the officers are safe, the community is safe, and of course no one can guarantee that. So that was really, really helpful. And in this case, it was helpful as well. And as you pointed out, the second person, who was not a person of interest, but it was a person that they wanted to identify. And perhaps that person may have given them the information, the piece of the puzzle that they were missing, and maybe supplied them with information, whether it's a description, whether he knew the person, whether he had a name for or whether or not he was involved with the person. None of that we know at this point.
I wanted to ask you, too, it seemed for days, particularly after police came out and said, look, we held the wrong person of interest initially on Sunday, that this investigation was not progressing as quickly as people in Providence would have hoped. How important do you think it was to have another set of investigators working on another investigation, at the time not believed to be connected 50 miles away, to actually bring to bear more resources on solving both crimes?
I think it was critical. Obviously, in this case, the fact that they realized that they had two very serious shootings within days of each other that obviously looked strange from the get-go, right? I mean, all of us were talking about it in the newsroom, folks were talking about it out on the street, and at first thought no connection. And then all of a sudden the pieces of the puzzle started to come together, and sometimes that's what it takes. And it looks like there may not be enough movement to the general public, but behind the scenes, there actually is a lot of coordination going on.
And I know you're always tapping into your sources. I know there's a lot that you can't talk about right now. But what happens in a scenario like this now? They have a name, they have a warrant. It feels like things should really speed up now.
And obviously it has, right? Just within the last couple of days, we thought that the trail was going cold. Yeah. Everybody thought they had more days that go by. You watch the TV shows, if they don't solve it in the first 10 minutes, it's not getting solved. And that really wasn't the case in this particular instance. They needed the time to put the pieces together. And now that they have a name, and now that they know who they're looking for, and they have ways of tracking them with all of the resources that they have, both state, local, and federal, they seem to be closing in. That's
an interesting point, because once you know a name, you can start tapping into cell phone data and things like that as well, right?
Yes, and also maybe people that he knows, or people that he may have been in touch with over the last several days, who may have information about his whereabouts.
Curious why we don't know that name now. Is there a reason why we know that they know who they're looking for? We know they know who they're looking for. We don't have the name.
No, and it may be just because at this point they're very close to.
So they don't need to share.
And they don't need to share that information at this point.
All right.
To recap, CBS sources saying police have issued an arrest warrant for the suspect in the Brown University shootings.
That's right. And CBS has also confirmed that police are investigating a possible connection now between that shooting at Brown on Saturday afternoon and the killing of an MIT professor 2 days later who was shot at his home in Brookline. We have our entire team working on this breaking story tonight, and we're going to continue to update you as we get new information.
And of course, this is 5 days now where people in Providence, not just at Brown University, a lot of those folks, the students at least, had gone home for winter break. But in Providence, people were really concerned about what might be happening behind the scenes. We just spoke, as word starts to spread, about this arrest warrant. We did just speak with a student at Johnson and Wales in Rhode Island. Let's listen in.
I'm a college senior now, but I remember when Parkland happened, I walked for March for Our Lives in March when I was in 8th grade. So it's definitely weird that all those years later this is still happening. I go to a neighboring school. I go to Johnson and Wales, and I work on Thayer Street. I take this road every day to go to work, so it's definitely hard. You know, I'm used to this time of the year, like everyone getting ready for finals. Like I just took mine. Like I'm so blessed that we're all out of school. I'm still in the Providence area, but my university finished finals and all left our dorms and everything. But it's definitely heavy. Just to see it be so quiet and desolate, and for this to continually happen year after year, day after day. So it's definitely heavy, and I know that it could have been me, so I'm just sitting with that and sitting with the fact that for some reason I'm one of the lucky ones that, you know, gets to live another day. So yeah, it's definitely hard.
How is the lack of resolution in this case feeling for you? I had some very sweet woman a few minutes ago, she's a faculty member here, basically be like, I'm trying to grieve and I don't feel like I can fully grieve.
Yeah.
I don't know if you share that.
Yeah, today is actually the first day I felt like an emotion of sadness and allowed myself to be sad. There's a lot of anger. One, that the first couple of days it was like a shock, but at the same time it wasn't. That this just continually happens is an anger. I don't want to fear for my life. I'm at a place where I'm trying to get my education to be the next leaders of this country. So it's definitely anger again. Like I said, I marched for this when I was in 8th grade, and the fact that there's still not any change in legislation or anything is just insane to me when you see things like what happened in Bondi, where there's lawmakers making changes like the day after. So it's definitely heartbreaking for me because it shouldn't be about politics. It's about life or death, and just the ability to be able to go to school and feel safe, or just to walk around the streets here. Like I said, I take this road every day. I had friends that were working on Thayer Street and not knowing what was going on. So it's definitely frustrating, especially by the comments made by our administration, because I think we're at the point where it's definitely past thoughts and prayers, and we need action. Because I'm going back to school in January. I want to be able to feel safe about the area that I live in, and just being able to go to school.
We've talked so much about the way this deadly shooting has affected students and the community at Brown, but it really is true when we're talking about RISD and URI and Providence College. There is a sense of unease among young people in that area about what happened, and the sense that the person who was responsible hasn't been caught. Hopefully that changes soon.
And in some sad way, the focus has been so much on the manhunt and finding this person and make sure that people are no longer in danger, that in some ways there's been less talk about the victims of this heinous attack. And so hopefully they catch the person soon, which we're hoping will happen perhaps this evening, and then we can start to grieve the people who were affected by this in such a tragic way.
And learn more about the survivors as well, who are still fighting, some in the hospital and some at home.
So to recap, CBS sources saying police have now issued an arrest warrant for the suspect in the Brown University shooting.
And CBS has confirmed that police are investigating now this possible connection between the deadly shooting at Brown and the killing of an MIT professor 2 days later at his home in Brookline.